week. Kevin Nichols here. Welcome to part 1 of Boilie making for beginners. This is the first in a series of videos designed to help and inform anyone looking to start out on the road of making their own baits. And each video will cover a different aspect of boilie making, from the equipment you need right the way through to the bait going onto the hook. Now we will of course have to invest time and a little money before we see our end results, but hopefully these videos will help us avoid some of the pitfalls and the unnecessary costs. I do hope you enjoy this series of videos, and if you do, please like them, and you may also consider subscribing to my channel. So without further ado, let's get on to the first topic. Okay, so we're going to look at equipment. One of the first things I would say, one of the most important things that you need to have, is a notebook and a pencil. Everything you do, write it down. However small the detail, write it down, because it saves a lot of duplication, it saves a lot of time in the future. When you've worked something out and then you come back in afterwards and you forgot exactly what you're doing, it doesn't work as it did before. If you write it all down, you can work from your notebook and you won't go far wrong off that then. So, utensils, we've got bowls. You can never have enough bowls. There's larger ones, smaller one, different sizes. I got these are like a steel bowl, and I got these from like a Chinese supermarket. Very cheap and very good, easy to clean as well. Set of scales. Obviously you need a good set of reliable scales. I will say at this time, what I do is I weigh obviously all of my dry ingredients, but I also weigh all of my wet ingredients as well. Now I'll use measures such as this to measure liquids such as liquid foods that are going into the bait, or liquid flavours, or any other liquid additive that's going to go into the bait. I will use it and measure it in millimetres. But once I get to the stage where I'm going to add the eggs to that liquid, I'll then put them on the scales and I'll bring it up to the weight that I've agreed. So I might have a kilo of dry mix, but then I would have, say, 500 grams of wet mix. So each time I do a mix, then I know that that combination, a kilo of dry, 500 grams of wet, when that's mixed together, that will give me the consistency in the paste, that I need. So that's a good tip. Yeah, measuring jugs, plastic measuring jugs. Again, get yourself a selection. They're dirt cheap, these are, from the supermarket. And you can never have enough. Measuring spoons, different sizes. This particular one's 15mm, goes right the way down to 1.5mm. Again, very, very useful. And that really, for sort of putting your dry ingredients and mixing them together, or preparing them to be mixed, that's really, a good starting point. Okay, so with mixing, we've got our dry ingredients, we've got our wet ingredients. The old Kenwood chef, been about for hundreds of years, and this one probably was one of the first. It's a really old ancient thing, but it's built like a tank. It just goes on and on and on. Never had a problem with it. Cost me £40 off eBay, and it's more than served its purpose. So if you can get one of these, they are a real workhorse. So yeah, obviously dry mixing first, and if you've got that balance right between your dry and your wet, you don't have to keep adding a little bit at a time. You can just put your dry mix in, you put your wet mix in, down with that, turn your mixer on, keep it going until such times it's all mixed to the consistency, and then take it out. What I do then is I take it out of the mixer and I'll roll it into a firm ball. I'll then put it into a plastic bag and leave it in the plastic bag for about 30 minutes. That way it draws in all the moisture in the mix and firms the paste up quite considerably. Now then, this is great for small measures, for small mixes. If you're doing 1-2 kilos at a time, this is absolutely brilliant. I find in this bowl you can mix half a kilo comfortably at a time. So if you're doing 3 or 4 batches of half a kilo at a time, this is fine. Keep it going forever, it works forever. Now then, if you decide then that you're going to step it up, you see a lot of people on some of these Boilie sites that go out and they buy these big industrial mixers like the Hobart and things like that. They cost an absolute fortune. They're very, very good, but they'll cost you an absolute fortune. Now I've got a method here that I use that I think is equally as good, if not better, and a fraction of the price. And this is it. I got myself one of these big plasterers buckets. You can buy these from the DIY stores nowadays. Don't cost you nothing at all. Nice and flexible. Get plenty of dry mix in there. To mix it. Now this is a bad boy. This is what I use. And this, you can see it all, is a plasterer's mixer. This, I can't remember, I was actually given this one by my son-in-law, who happens to be a tiler. But you can buy these from varying different prices. Get yourself a decent one. Probably cost you, I don't know, 70, 80 quid, something like that, from B&Q or similar stores. But I tell you, this is absolutely brilliant. This will mix a 5 kilo dry mix in seconds, no time at all. You have to hold on tight because it does go, but absolutely brilliant. And for the larger mixes, I would never ever be without this at all. Okay, so we've got our paste made now. It's been sitting in a bag for half an hour or so. We now take it out of the bag. The next thing we want to do is roll it into lengths of sausage of the diameter that we want our boilies to be. Now again, it's like everything, you can spend as much or as little really as you want to. You can start off with something like this. This is the Gardner gun. Very cheap construction, but does the job. If you only do small quantities of boilies, yes, it'll do the job for you, no problem at all. Then if you're going to step up then and you want something a little bit bigger so you can get a little bit more mix into your gun, Gardner do another one, a more heavy duty one. Again, very, very good. Just unscrew the top off, put the sausage in, put it back on, and away you go. Very good tool, very durable. Had this for ages, used it, made hundreds and hundreds of boilies with it, and couldn't fault it at all. Okay, so we've got our guns, the two that I've already showed you for sausage guns. If then you want to expand even more and do things on a larger scale, then you do need to step up again. And the next step up is this little beauty over here. This is from Steve Taylor. This gun holds 4 kilo of paste and is an absolute lifesaver when you're doing larger amounts. But as we've said, you can start off with something like this. As you grow, if you intend to grow, if you don't, you stay with that. If you want to produce more, then you would step onto something like this. Now once we've made our sausages, what do we do then? Well, we can buy again from Gardner these little rolling tables, absolutely brilliant. Just lay your sausage across them. We will go through this in a later video. Lay your sausage across, quick up and down, and that, off they go. Again, really good, really durable, well worth the money. Come in varying different sizes. I think you can go right the way down to 8mm, and I think something like 22, 24mm, may even be bigger, I'm not sure. But very good, not overly expensive, and ideal for when you're starting off. Again, if you're going to progress and get bigger, then you would step onto a bigger rolling table. Again, a gardener product, again made all in different sizes, basically the same as this but just a bit bigger. Rolls a lot more base obviously for each go. So really the choice is yours, where you start, where you progress to, if that's what you want to do. This one, it's fixed on a piece of board, makes it easy for me. I've got it set up with a sausage gun. A little roller there comes straight into this table. It's rolled and then it drops off and drops off into just a piece of guttering, which I made there. Just pieces of guttering cut into appropriate lengths. The boilies drop into them. When there's enough in there, I take it out, put it on the side, put another one in. I've got about 4 or 5 of these. Drop another one in place, and they can all be lined up then, ready for when we come down to boiling. As we just said, the next process then is boiling. This leads you on to something like this. Now again, this is like a sort of a tea urn that you'd see in the village hall or somewhere to do all the fetes. Now Burco is the most popular brand on the market. This is not a Burco, this is a Buffalo. Now the reason I went for this rather than the Burco, apparently the Burco doesn't actually boil. It comes up to virtually boiling, but it doesn't actually boil. Whereas this one does. This one actually goes to boil point. You've got the regulator on there, so you can use that. What I've also done is I've made a mesh basket here. So I then get the guttering and that I showed you earlier. That's in the water, it's boiling away. Tip it up straight down into the boiler. When it's boiled, take these out, straight onto the drying racks. Now you don't have to go out and buy yourself one of these straight away. You can do exactly the same thing with just a big saucepan on the gas. And what I used then was a little chip basket. If you get a little cheap chip basket from the supermarket or wherever, use one of those, dip it in, leave it the desired length of time, bring it back out, tip them onto a towel or something like that, just to dry them off initially. So yeah, again, this is all about scaling up, but you don't need to. You've got the smaller guns, you've got the smaller rolling tables. You can boil in a saucepan on the stove, and you're going to produce the same quality boilies as if you're producing with the bigger gun, the bigger table, the bigger boiler. The quality is not going to be different, it's just that you can make a lot more boilies a lot quicker when you scale up. You may not need to, but if you do, the options are there for you. Okay, one final thing really, drying trays. As I say, you can tip them out onto a towel, that's fine. But then I do that, and then what I'll do then is I'll put them onto something like this. Now you can get the little plastic boxes that they have the mushrooms in or the tomatoes in the supermarket. You can normally get your hands on some of those, and they're ideal sort of thing. These I made myself because I stack them over in this shelving unit here. But yeah, put them on there, leave them to dry properly before you consider freezing them. Okay, well that about covers the chapter on equipment that we're possibly going to need. As you go on, you add little bits here and you add little bits there, but what I've just taken you through now is the basic stuff that you're going to need to be able to get yourself making some boilies. So I hope that's been useful to you, and look forward to seeing you on the next chapter.